Joe, here we
What's going on?
go. Can you believe this? Oh shoot, man!
You gotta turn your stuff down over there.
Rookie mistake.
Let's get your shit together over there.
You would think this is 6 weeks, folks. 6 weeks in a row. And I'm still making mistakes. That's just part of it, Joe. You make mistakes, you live and you learn. But what we have learned, Joe, is we're making improvements every week, right? Hey, thanks for everybody joining us in the Pre-Scalp. We've made it official. We have Pre-Scalp tunes. We have a Pre-Scalp label. And now we have a Pre-Scalp timer, so you know just how much long you have left until we get to the good stuff. Joe, how was your week? Or how's your week been? It's only Tuesday, but after the time change, it is. I heard one of the weather guys the other day. He said it's not really spring forward; it's more like slog forward because I'm worn out.
Yeah, today it was super cold, windy. Really, really windy. But it's supposed to get up to hopefully the 60s on Thursday. So that's a good thing. But this time change, I hate it.
Man,
it's a pain in the ass.
Is Jersey thinking about taking this thing to standard time, like year round? Because I know it's here in Arkansas. That's on the topic of discussion.
Yeah, I know daylight savings. I know Marco Rubio in Florida, the senator in Florida. I know he has he's trying to pass a law that to get rid of daylight savings altogether. And I think it would be great just to get rid of it altogether.
You get if they do that, you lose quite a bit of daylight in those peak summer months. Like in July, instead of getting dark, here it gets dark at like 9:30. It would be more like 7:30. I think it would be.
Yeah, like for us in the wintertime, by 5 o'clock it's dark. And now today, I think it got dark around like 7:30. Actually, I had to run out to Home Depot, so I think it was around like 7:30 the sun was setting.
So you're kind of like right where we at. It just set here about 7:30. It's just now looking outside. It's just now pretty much dark. So you're a lot like us.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I actually like I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I actually like when it gets dark early, because especially during Christmas time. Because of the lights outside.
yeah.
But I like coming home from work and seeing especially my pixel lights that I got up. I really love, just driving down the street and seeing them. So
the tough part about it is you got to get the Christmas lights up. Now that you've got permanent ones, that's a lot easier.
I got them up year round. So.
But for me, like, you got to get them up before the time change, or you're like pressed for time every evening trying to get it beat till dark. And I'm one of those that once I'm in the middle of something, I can't stop. But it's hard to be out there when it's pitch black and like doing efficient work. You just start getting tired, you can't see, and then it just kind of all goes downhill. Hey, thanks to everybody already in the Pre-Scalp. If you don't know what the Pre-Scalp is the pre-show. We got a timer for you now. We do this for 5 minutes before the meat and potatoes of the show kicks off at 8 o'clock. This is your chance to come in, chit-chat with us, chit-chat with each other. We see Pat's in there, Mark, hey, John, Super TA, what's up, guys? Thank you for coming back for another week of this. We got a show name, Joe, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but I'm glad we came to Pat's rescue tonight, because Pat, I've been down that road before having to watch The Bachelor, and we picked the right night, Joe. If Tuesday night gets some of these gentlemen out of The Bachelor, we made a really good decision.
Yeah, I don't think I would. There's actually a new show, something about Farmer. It's about dating. I forget what it's called now. But farmers are looking for love too, so. I saw an advertisement the other day about them. They literally will put anything on TV, I swear.
Hey, somebody said basketball's on right now. I know I'm missing two of the first NCAA games are on tonight. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Yeah. But I've got Razorback baseball on right now, and I'm telling you, with SEC Plus, being able to watch a Tuesday night game against UNLV, early season college baseball, is pretty freaking sweet. Oh, it's riveting. Hey, Joe,
riveting entertainment.
Joe, I bet you've got something riveting for us here. Right off the top of the show, guess what, guys? It is time to rock and roll. Oh, this is episode 6. And Joe, we were the program with no name. And you know, we kept getting this in the chat every single week. And we just couldn't resist it any longer. It kind of sums up both of our channels really, really well here. So now this is going to be tough for me to say, Joe. So you might have to take it sometimes because it's really going to be kind of a tongue twister for me. But this is the Budget Wooder Show. I mean,
Good job.
I mean, look, we said we were going to start this and we were going to kind of just see what came out of nowhere from the folks watching. And that's what keeps coming up. And I'm a big believer, if you keep seeing the same thing over and over and over, that you just got to take the sign and run with it. And Joe, I know you run with something riveting here every single week. Are you prepared for your off-the-top show stat for the day?
Yeah, I'm going to do my best North Carolina Southern accent here.
What you? Oh, I see. You want to go straight to sponsor.
See,
no. See,
no,
I thought you were going to come
yeah.
out with a stat like, did you know North Carolina not making the NCAA tournament this year?
I forgot about this one. So in 1900, today in history, 1900, the U.S. currency goes on gold standard after Congress passes the Currency Act.
See, you're coming.
We know what happened. We know what happened over the weekend with our currency and some of these banks. So
man, everybody keeps asking me, "What do you think about that?" I'm like, my money's not in them, so right now I guess I'm okay. But that's a good one, Joe. And
yeah,
you said North Carolina. It made me think. Did you know North Carolina not making it into the NCAA tournament this year is the first time in NCAA basketball history that a team started number 1 to begin the season, but did not make the tourney?
I did not know that. That's
wild.
Hey, I mean, that's wild. Hey, we saw 16 beat up 1 a couple years ago, so that was wild too. So
you know, NCAA basketball,
anything's
it's
possible.
tough.
Anything's possible.
I don't know what's in the water out there, but it seems like there's a whole lot better athletes than when I was a kid. Speaking of athletes, Joe, we have quite possibly one of the most well-known, recognized athletes for what you might say is a little bit of an unconventional sport tonight for our sponsor. And he's promoting a product that we think all of our friends who are big-time grass lovers will not be able to get enough of this in their mouths. Joe, what do we got tonight?
So we got Green Grass Gum by Ricky Bobby. If you don't chew the grass, then you screw you. It tastes like success.
Tastes like success. You know, I've heard smells like success, but I guess it's taste.
You ain't first, you're last.
You know, Will Ferrell's one of those actors like Step Brothers with John C. Reilly and Talladega Nights, and some of the movies he's put out over the years. I'm always like, I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I'm spitting all over the place. You see that spit? But it's like the more I watch them, the more they grow on me. I mean, Step Brothers, I despised it at first, but I'm telling you, Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, it's gold. They're all gold.
One of the movies that's underrated for him that I like is Kicking and Screaming. It's a soccer movie with Robert Duvall. I think that's pretty funny. It doesn't get it played a lot, but I think it's a funny movie. But yeah, good old Ricky Bobby, shake and bake.
Hey, we're gonna do something different tonight that we have not been doing some of the other weeks. We want to encourage you, not just on this video, because it really does matter if you're watching this on the replay or the live stream. Folks, we do ask you, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate your comments in the chat.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. All that stuff helps out the stream, helps out the video once it's published after we're live. All that good stuff. And we also want to encourage you too. Joe and I aren't just doing these live streams on Tuesday nights. We're here Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 Central. But during the week, usually on the weekends, we're both pumping out another lawn video to give you some lawn tips this past week, Joe. Joe, tell us about where this inspiration for your video this past week came from. I guess it was 2 days ago you put that up.
Yeah, 2 days ago I put this up. We talked about this last week on the show about OpenAI Chat. It's basically a website that you can go on and you pretty much type in any kind of question you want. And for me, I wanted to know what the bare bones of lawn care for a cool season lawn was. And I don't want to really talk about what's in the video. I want to encourage everyone to go and watch it. It's linked in my channel. It's just a really cool artificial intelligence. It's kind of scary with some of the stuff you can put in. It comes back out as, and it came back with 5 interesting tips or lawn care topics for cool season grass, and one of them on there.
Hey,
was
Joe.
a soil test. So
not a soil test, but Joe, I didn't want you to go any further because guess where they can see all that? Last week's show.
Yes.
Yeah, go back, check out last week's show. The shows are only an hour. Go check it out. We talked about that for quite a bit, and Joe turned it into a video this week. But Joe, if this open AI stuff keeps up, we're not going to really be needed much any longer. My last video, we talked about watering that crap in, and if you've been in lawn care for any length of time, water that crap in, you know, the biosolids out there, the organics, oddly enough, they don't have to be watered in. But in my last video from this past weekend, we just talked about some of your main applications you put on your lawn, from weed control to fertilizer, organics to synthetics, pre-emergent, post-emergent. Do you water them in? Do you not? Can you plow them at the same time? Should you plow them separately? All that jazz. That was in my video from last week. So we hope you'll go check out those videos. And I'm seeing in the chat, Joe, we're talking about dancing, and somebody talked about Step Brothers. And there's one of my favorite lines on Step Brothers that I'm not going to say here on the internet because some of the words in it are inappropriate, and as much as I would love to say them, I'll refrain. But you know where he's sitting at the dinner table with his dad, John C. Reilly's sitting with his dad, and he's like talking about the new mom coming in, and he's like, "Dad, we're men. We crap with the door open. We go on riverboat gambling. You know that part? Make our own beef jerky. We're men. That's what we do."
Like chicken nuggets or something.
No, he says they talk about and then it's the P word. But hey, there's something, since it is that time of year. It is one of the best times of year. If you ask me, being a sports fan, we are going in to March Madness. It starts tonight, and we thought with March Madness knocking on our doorstep that we were going to have a little mowing madness of our own, and I can't take credit for that because Joe, you are the man with the
we can't hear you, Travis.
What? Okay. Yeah. Here I come.
There we go. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Well, what happened? Okay. Here.
I don't know. I didn't hear you there for a second.
Could everybody else hear me? It was showing that my mic was working. Tell me if you could hear me on that. All right, we're gonna go back to that, but let's go to this one, Joe. We're just gonna keep it right here where I know you can hear me.
There we go.
Joe came up with our mowing madness bracket for March. Joe, who are our competitors on this lovely Tuesday night?
So this is the Elite 8 for the I'm gonna call this the ultimate lawn care equipment bracket, March Madness bracket. Up in our North region there, we have the Toro versus the Troy-Bilt brand. Then in our South region there, we're going to call that our Southwest region. We got Echo versus Red Max. And then up there in our, we'll call up in the Northeast side, I guess. And then we'll have the Northwest side with Toro and Troy-Bilt. The Northeast, we got Steel, however you pronounce it.
Steel
versus Craftsman, good old Craftsman, never lets you down. And in our Southeast region, we got good old Wright versus Exmark. And I just put this together. I thought this was kind of fun. I love March Madness. I think you do too, Travis.
One of the best times of year.
I've been playing that. A fun fact: this time of the year is the most time that I don't know how to say this, but they see a more uptick in vasectomies.
That's true. That's true. Guys are like, I'm going to get clipped so I can sit on the couch for the first week of the tournament.
Yeah. So Thursday and Fridays are a big snip day, if you know what I mean.
Hey, and Joe, I like this bracket. This was really well done. Joe has been the graphics man. He's building all these graphics throughout the week. So big kudos and props to him because he's doing a heck of a job. And this one, I really liked it. And I don't want us to have like I don't think we want this to turn into like a vote and then we're going to narrow it down next week. But tell us in the comments. Let's go division or region by region, Joe, because I
Yeah,
know
this
there are a
yeah.
lot of folks across the landscaping and lawn care world that are all about Toro. But the only only contribution to this was the Troy built, because I have an old Troy built TB 130 that's like over a decade old, and I'm gonna tell you right now, for not being a personal pace, not being anything fancy, just a regular push mower, that
Yeah.
sucker is tough and a beast.
Is it a Troy built engine or is it Briggs and
I
Stratton?
actually have the Troy built TB 130 with the Honda engine.
Oh, the Honda. Okay. All right.
So man, it mulches, it side
I
discharges, it bags. I really.
yeah.
What else do you need? What are you rocking with for
No,
your
I,
main
I
unit?
have a yeah. So I have a Toro. I have it has a Honda engine. It has the side discharge. You know, the mulching capability. I actually I wanted the Honda engine myself, instead of just the plain old Briggs and Stratton engine or the Toro engine. So, and that Honda engine runs great. I mean, I everyone, you know, you see that at the end of the year, everyone winterizing their equipment and this and that. And I usually just let my equipment just run out of gas. And then that's my winterization. Like I
Be
don't
done
go
with it.
crazy and put like stable or whatever that brand is, the red stuff, you know, in my engines. I just make sure the gases ran out completely of the lines, and that's it for the year. And the last couple years, that's all I do. I mean, before we get into the other ones, because I have other equipment too. So Toro, Troy built. What do you think?
Yeah, in the comments, tell us Toro or Troy built. I think it's the power of branding, Joe. Most
Yeah,
people will tell you that they know about Toro and they'll say Toro because there just really aren't a lot of folks who are out rocking the lawn with a Troy built lawnmower. And I got mine for
yeah,
free. It was my dad's, and he was getting to a point when I bought my wife and I built our first house that he needed on his little lawn. He needed something with a personal pace. So
yeah.
he was ready to get rid of that, and I took
I
it.
do
And
love the personal pace. I mean, so that's a self-propelled you have. It's
no,
not a personal
no,
pace.
it's not anything. It is a
Oh, it's
push
not nothing. Okay,
mower. When I'm
okay.
going up and down my hills, I am pushing it with all my might. So it is not helping me in the least. So I'm seeing some
Damn.
Toros over there. Whether it's a Toro or a Troy built, you ask about the Briggs and Stratton versus a
Yeah,
Honda. I don't care what you're buying. Find the Honda. Find a Honda if you can. What does yours have?
I personally, I think you can't go either wrong with a Troy built or a Honda. Personally, I see more when I go to my Home Depot. I usually always go down the lawnmower aisle just to see what's like sold and like what's kind of in inventory. And Troy built usually their stuff's gone at the end of the year, and for some reason it seems like Toro always has mowers that linger. So I think for this round, I think for the lead eight, the northwest region, we're gonna go with Troy built moving on to that final four slot.
Yeah, hey, Joe, you just mentioned you like to run through the aisle and kind of see what's there and what's not. We've got something coming up that it's a lawnmower that is it.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's still there. You're going to want to see this.
Yes,
There's
hang on,
there's
guys,
one
to this
there's
one.
one
This,
that's
yeah,
not selling. Let's
yeah,
move on. Which one you want to do next, Joe? We move in.
yeah. Let's do in the northeast region there the steel and the Craftsman. I know I personally I've used both of equipment in the past. This is another like I try to lump them together to like try to make them the best competitive as possible. And I don't know. Do you have any experience with either one?
Well, I've got steel, and I think of you've got some pretty inexpensive Craftsman like lawnmowers, but I think some people will use it for some of their other smaller tools, like their string trimmer or their blower. I don't
Yeah,
even know if they make a blower, but when it comes to my non lawnmower equipment, I'm all steel.
yeah.
I mean, I am
Oh,
steel blower,
non-lawnmower. Okay, yeah,
still
yeah,
trimmer. If I ever decide to get the combi system, something where I can take off the attachments and go from a stick edger to a trimmer to a
yeah,
Steel's version of the rotary scissors,
yeah,
I would go with the Steel. I mean, we've got
yeah,
Steel dealers
yep,
around here that service them, and it's just, I mean, they're good. My dad's
yeah.
had the same steel trimmer for 30 something years, I think.
And this is why I kind of lumped that Southwest region together, Echo and Red Max, because my dad has had steel backpack blowers in the past, and he's had Red Max blowers and Echo blowers in the past. So with that, I'm gonna go with Steel over Craftsman. I have a Craftsman backpack blower, believe it or not. It
Well,
runs
how
fine.
is
It
it?
runs.
So you can tell us.
It runs good. I just, it's a store bought. It's not a commercial where, oh, my dad's equipment's a commercial grade equipment. And for me personally, I would go with Craftsman tools. Wrenches.
Mhm.
I have a
Circular saw.
I have a table saw, a Craftsman table saw that I use a lot. I would go towards that for Craftsman than maybe the lawn care equipment. So with that, I think Steel moves on to the final four in that Northeast region bracket up there. Let's move down to. I know you probably haven't used these two mowers before. A Right
Everything on your
or an
south end of the
X-Smart.
bracket, it looks like those might be more on the commercial or professional side. Am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So yeah. I know this was more geared towards what I've used, I didn't. I know that you don't probably use it. You haven't used a ton of this kind of stuff, but for the people that are in the chat or people that watch us that are into the lawn care thing, will be familiar with Xmark lawnmowers and Right standard lawnmowers. And Right, they're known for their stand on. You stand on it and you have your hands up here and you can go forward and backwards. And then Xmark obviously has their walk behind. They have zero turns as well with the different levers here. Yeah, this is a tough
I'm
one
going to
for
let you
me.
call the winner on this one, Joe. I
Yeah,
have
because
no idea. Let
I
folks in the chat, you tell us if you've got
yeah, you
experience with
guys
those.
yeah, before I pick that winner, let's hop over to Echo in the Southwest region there. Echo and Red Max. So have you used anything either one of them? No.
Neither. No, I
So
know
I'm
Echo
gonna
seems to be a popular brand of like a trimmer for a lot of homeowners. That seems to be. And sometimes I get it confused with Steel because of if I see the orange, I might go, oh, Steel. No, that's an Echo.
Yeah, so for that, I see Turf and Stem. He said Husqvarna owns Red Max, and I've used some Husqvarna stuff in my past, but I got to go with Echo. I know their commercial stuff. I have a 16-year-old weed whacker or a weed eater. I know some people have, when I say weed whacker, people are like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, you can't say Weed Eater either because that's a
Uh,
brand. That's what I've been told.
uh,
Weed Eater's a brand, so you have to say trimmer, string trimmer. I've been
String trim.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been ridiculed for calling
So
a string trimmer a weed eater.
I had yeah. So with that, Echo again. I have a 16-year-old Echo that was my dad's. It's a commercial grade. It still runs great to this day. So I can't go wrong with Echo. So I'm gonna pick Echo moving into the final four against Troy Built. We got Steel up in the top corner,
Oh,
and at the bottom.
You went Troy Built in the Northwest. We didn't go Toro.
Nah, I think Troy Built. Like I said, I think just by what I see in inventory in Home Depot, Troy Built, there's nothing left usually at the end of the year as opposed to Toro. Then that just tells me that more people are buying Troy Built
And
over
well,
Toro.
a lot of it too is just
Pricing
a
too.
better
I mean,
there's less of a barrier to entry for a lot of the average consumer, the average homeowner. You can get
yeah.
a pretty darn good Troy Built lawnmower for $350, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a huge point. So let's move quickly through our final four
Yeah.
and pick a champion.
We got I'm gonna pick X mark down at the right hand corner there. My dad still has his X mark down in South Carolina. I sold his old X mark to a 911 first responder a couple years ago. It still runs great. The guy still talks to me about it to this day. So we got Steel versus X mark, and we got Troy Built versus Echo. This is a tough one.
I'm just going to make an executive decision here, unless someone says
Yeah.
otherwise. I mean, it's hard for me to argue with a Lowe's Troy Built TB130 that I have not had a single problem with. Knock on wood, and it's been rocking and rolling without any issues for. I think this is coming up on like, golly, a decade now, 10, 11 years. And I don't do hardly any maintenance to it whatsoever. Hardly any at all.
All right, so my Echo's got 16 years on your 10 years.
All right, we'll go Echo. That wins.
We'll go Echo with the age.
So Echo to the finals.
Steel versus X mark.
Steel, Well,
So
let's
how
talk.
old steel?
My dad's
Yours?
steel string trimmer made it 30 years, but let's talk for the average
All
homeowner.
right.
Super TA
Yeah.
made
Well,
a
so
good point. He said this stuff is out of homeowners league. And so I think if you're talking
all right.
homeowners,
Yeah.
let's go steel
Yeah.
versus echo.
Steel versus echo. Ooh, this is tough.
And that brings up a really good final
Uh,
game, like a championship, because I
yeah.
think you have people that are in the echo camp and people that are in the steel camp. So
Yeah.
you know where I'm at. You're echo, you're steel. We can
Let's
call it a
like.
draw,
How about
shake
this?
hands,
Let's
and
let's leave it here. Let's let the people if they that watch the video. Let's let them comment in our comment section. Steel versus echo.
oh, we got an echo better than steel from Turf and Stem.
All
Okay.
right, echo for the homeowner. All
Hey,
right, so it's echo for the win.
hey, in Western Mass Turf, hey, appreciate that feedback because he is a pro, so he has some validation to
X
the
mark.
X
How about
mark being
that?
a great
Yeah.
brand for the pros. So
Yeah.
hey, appreciate that because us homeowners, we don't need something that's going to run 6-7 days a week. It's gotta mow the one lawn 2 or 3 days a week, and that's it. It's not running 20 lawns a day, 10 lawns a day for 6 or 7 days. So thanks for that. But hey,
I was rooting for you, Echo.
hey, you are. Hey, guys. We wanted to do this for fun when it comes down to the equipment, but
Yeah.
Joe also said, you know what, we need to have an option out there for an actual NCAA tournament bracket. I don't know
Yeah.
how into this some of you folks get, but if you are into doing a bracket, there is a budget Wooder bracket. The link for that bracket for you to sign up through the ESPN bracket challenge is down in the comments, not the comment section, the description of this live stream, and it will be there in the description once the live stream is published when we're finished going live. It will say bracket challenge with a few b-balls there. Go click on that, join the bracket challenge if you like. Look, we're not putting money up. It's more for a bragging rights deal. Joe took this on, so I appreciate Joe for putting that together. He asked me, I said, I get a little bit too into it these days, and I got too much on my plate to get into it again. But if you want to do it, go check that out.
Up to four entries per person. I usually like to do like what I think it's going to happen, and then I have like an upset bracket myself. I do have Arkansas winning it all.
No way.
No. I'm
No.
kidding.
Do you at least have them going past Illinois?
I have them going past the first round.
Okay, and then if they get past the first round, they're most likely going to be paired up with Kansas. So, okay, well, whatever. Hey, Joe, we hinted to it a while ago, folks. We're talking about equipment again. Go sign up for the bracket if you want. Also, folks, if you've been following along here on Budget Lawns for a while, I appreciate you. If you're not yet following along on Wooderboy Productions on Joe's channel, go check it out. Wooderboy Productions. Subscribe to him as well. If you're into cool season and you want to keep it simple, he's your guy. I'm warm season, so good mix of both of us here. Go subscribe to his channel. But Joe sent me this because when you're talking about equipment and what's on the shelves and what's not, there's certainly one that is on the shelves. And Joe, I'm going to put this up full screen or almost full screen for the folks and let them watch that. And then we'll bring it back home, small screen. But folks, I don't know if this is good or bad, but if I'm going with my gut, this ain't good.
Oh, let me look real quick.
So all these three are 500?
Yes, one of each. One is 500.
How come they're on sale so cheap?
I think it's because we don't sell these. Like they don't.
Yeah.
Nothing says I want to buy a lawnmower that you don't sell and
So,
no one's buying.
And I see Super TA says, yeah, right. This is legit. Like this video was trending over the weekend, and I sent it to Travis over the weekend, and I was like, we got to put this in there. And the person actually did a follow-up video. They showed their receipt and everything, so it was legit.
And so did they end up walking away with one?
Yeah, they walked away with one. It had the receipt, it had the $500 on there, everything. And apparently, some people were saying, "Oh, it's like $2,500 for the battery." Apparently, the battery's included So that's like everything. The the lawnmower and the battery and the charger, $500 out the door. I even went to my Home Depot after I saw this video. And
Were you going to get one if they had one? I mean, you probably could have used it in your front yard.
I just kind of wanted to see like what the hell's going on. And my Home Depot doesn't have like a ton of. They have mostly Craftsman ride-on mowers. They have the newer Ryobi with the joystick. I tested that one out at GIE. That was pretty cool actually. But they didn't have this one with the handles, and that's just crazy. That just goes to show me that this whole battery movement, this green energy movement, it's just like it just blows my mind that all these companies are going towards this. I mean, it just like
well, and here's what's difficult, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you know, I'm not seeing a whole lot of creators out there pushing the Ryobi stuff when it comes to the ride-ons, but can you recall one that has just been a big brand ambassador for the Ryobi zero-turn lawnmower? Because I would hate to be peddling something like that if what we see in that video is trending across the big box stores when it comes to selling those suckers, because that ain't good, if you ask me.
No, it's not good. I mean, I just think about it, that all those mowers sitting there with those batteries that were made in China that are not, they're just sitting there. They're not reducing our CO2. If anything, they increased our CO2 emissions because the way they were made over in China. And it's just, I'm just
I got Joe going on China again. Joe going on China.
Like this, like soil tests, like really irk me, those videos, but like stuff like this even irks me even more. Just because it just, I mean, I've done a video myself, and maybe we'll put up that graph next week of just our CO2 emissions going down and China's still going up. And it's just like, let's get over this battery thing. Like gas has been around for years, and it just, I actually put my Husqvarna battery in my backpack blower, and I don't bring in my batteries during the winter time. Like, what am I going to do? Bring them in every winter time and store them in my house because it's warmer in my house and the batteries are going to last longer? Like, no, I'm going to leave them in the garage. I don't feel like having to deal with that crap, you know?
Am I one of the only weird ones though that like kind of enjoys going to the gas station and filling my gas cans up and smelling the gas? Yeah, this makes you feel like I'm about to go do some
feels
work
like a man.
in the lawn.
You feel like a man when you're, you know.
Oh, yeah. What are you guys doing today? Oh, just getting my gas cans out of my truck. Gonna go do some lawn work. And, no one else cares. No one cares about that. But I kind of like it. And I'm one of those, I hear about people talking about the run time of the batteries on the lawnmowers. Oh, well, you got plenty of time. Hey, I don't know if some days I'm going to want to do a double cut. Some days I am slow moving and I'm stopping and picking up weeds and getting rocks out of the way, getting kids' toys out of the way. Like, I don't want to feel rushed at the expense of a battery to rush through my lawn care. That's not what I'm there for. I want to, before I even crank up any pieces of equipment, I take every cap off. I fill up the blower. I fill up the trimmer. I fill up the lawnmower. And I know a full tank is going to get me easily through each task of the lawn, no matter how long I take. I don't want to rush. That's not what I'm there for.
Well, two things. You hit it there with, the rushness part. Like, I don't want to feel rushed to have to get done because I don't have an extra battery. What am I going to do? Cut half of my lawn? My battery's going to run out. I don't have an extra battery. I'll just get it. I'll get to it tomorrow, guys. I'm going to go charge my battery.
I got something else to do tomorrow. But some people do that, Joe. Some people do that.
And then two, in Jersey, the only time I get to pump my own gas is when I go to fill up my gas can.
You're not allowed to pump your own gas in Jersey?
No, it's a big thing in Jersey. Yeah, I hate it actually because these friggin' guys, they take too long. I like to just hop out of my car. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Because
you never heard of Jersey girls don't pump gas before?
Well, I've seen the ones that are like can't find the gas tank and all that stuff on videos.
Pat and Super TA in the chat, they know what I'm talking about. So,
see, my wife doesn't pump her gas. I pump it, but a couple Mondays ago, we were on our way to school and we were in two cars that day, and she said, hey, I didn't get gas over the weekend. I was like, oh, well, good. I need gas. So we both pulled up, one on one side of the pump and one on the other. And I put the card in on both and put two nozzles in two different cars, pumped both of our tanks full, and then we both cruised on out. So, and I don't have to sit there and wait on anybody. But I remember the old days where that was a thing, when my mom used to drive up to the old school gas station and Mr. Bill would come out and clean the windshield and pump the gas. Pump the gas. Hey, Joe, man, speaking of...
This stuff just irks me, this battery stuff.
I know, I could tell. Hey, and I know you've been on, I'm not trying to stir the pot here, folks, but, you know, we can all have a difference of opinions, right, Joe? And it's okay if our opinions don't jive, they don't dance, they don't rah-rah, hug together. Like, this whole... Look, I appreciate positivity and rah-rah sometimes. It's just not my personality. It's not the way I grew up. It's not the way I was raised. It's no offense to somebody, but Joe, I'm not trying to stir the pot, but you've got some strong feelings about your friend, last name Test, soil, right?
Yes.
Do you want the stage?
Yeah, I just need to. This is my hot take for the week. If I see one more soil test video, when I got into this YouTube thing, like no one talked about soil test. I mean, literally no one talked about. I didn't know what a soil test was until a year into doing YouTube. And every one of these people, I mean, it's just soil test this, soil test that. You need to. We're starting a year, guys. We got to get that soil test done. And it's just like, for how many years were people just treating their lawn with no soil test? They were doing a Scott's, maybe a 4-step program from a big box store like a Home Depot or a Ace Hardware. And it's just like, I'm done. Like, you guys got to stop these soil test videos. Like, I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, I'm just like, move on to a different subject. Like, we talked about this last week about some creators, like, be more creative. Like, it's the same stuff every year. And somebody did tell me something I this week, and I brought it up to you about, maybe some of these people are watching, maybe not like us that are watching, 10 or 15 different creators maybe. And maybe some people, their audience are just watching that one person for tips or soil tests. But I think there's enough people out there now that you're going to go on YouTube or you're going to go on Instagram, you're going to find other creators now. So you're definitely going to be watching more than just one person. And it's just like, it's so overdone now. And it's,
Joe, maybe, I know we get, it's more for entertainment and just to take jabs at each other. And sometimes
just do a nitrogen only plant.
Well,
I mean, that's it. It's like, you don't got to go nuts. I don't understand.
It's
like,
sometimes
you're gonna save money if you do a soil test. You're gonna see your levels, up and down, this and that. And half of those people are not gonna know like what those different numbers are. And I'm sorry, but most of us are just like me and you, homeowners that either maybe this might be their first time. This is their first house. This is a starter home or whatever for them. And it's just like, they just want to have a nice lawn. You could do most of that with just going to a big box store, getting a Scott's turf builder, and throwing it down your lawn and just following a simple program. You don't got to go nuts.
And maybe we're guilty of, just as much as we're tired of hearing about soil tests, people are tired of hearing us bitch and moan about it, right? They're tired of hearing about us say that. But I've made the argument before that you actually have the opportunity to grow the hobby of lawn care by keeping it very simple in the beginning. And whether you think a soil test is simple or not, the average homeowner is not going to be interested in a soil test. Get them hooked into taking care of their lawns, teach them the basics, let them go out and get a taste of watching their lawn transform and improve and feel that sense of hard work and accomplishment. And then at that point, if they enjoy it and want to dive deeper and get deeper into the details and have a better understanding of why things happen the way they do in lawn care, then let them do it at that point. That's just not my angle, okay? So I'm sure people are tired of hearing about the whole soil test thing, just like we're tired of hearing about it. So maybe, Joe, maybe we should challenge ourselves, my friend, to talk less about soil tests. That should be our slogan for the next.
Just one more thing I thought about today when I told you I wanted to do like a hot take on this was I was thinking back to LCN. I mean, all of us watch Alan Hain at some point. And I was just thinking back to some of his like early videos when he was back in, in Illinois or Indiana, wherever he's from. Indiana, I think
He
he's
was
from.
next to Jake, the lawn kid.
Jay, and I don't ever really recall any of his videos early on talking about a soil test.
It was just a little mini Al in the bottom corner with a green screen telling you about how to put Milorganite down.
Exactly. And I don't ever I remember him talking about Milorganite. I remember him talking about just like weed controls, different things like grass seeds, things like that. I don't ever recall him ever talking about soil tests. And in my opinion, he's the godfather of the lawn care YouTube. And whether you love him or you hate him, I mean, he got a lot of us started.
I'm here today because of it.
Yeah, and he never talked about soil tests early on. And now all of a sudden, everybody's talking about them. And it's like, I understand it's a little bit of a money grab because people are affiliated with certain companies. And maybe that's the true factor of this. And
hey, Joe,
let's just stop. Let's stop before I get too more work.
Because we got something else to talk about. You're talking about the lawns and grass and being better. There's somewhere else that's better. But I want to follow up on something you said. You just mentioned, talking about how folks, kind of the consumer trends or the consumer habits of consuming YouTube videos. But I do want to say, I did go check out that creator that you told me, Dad Bod Lawn. I want to give him a shout out because I did go watch some of his YouTube shorts. And that's what I think Joe is getting at right there. He has very creative, well thought out, entertaining YouTube shorts.
Funny stuff,
I didn't see much in the way on his channel of going to find like long form lawn tips. I'm sure they're there. I haven't checked them out yet, but his YouTube shorts, if you just love lawn care and want to laugh with lawn care, enjoy lawn care, be entertained by lawn care topics. Sorry. Hey, I hope you'll take this free ad or publicity because I told Joe, I sent Joe a text this past week, said, dang, this dude's stuff is really good. It's funny. So very good stuff. Very good stuff, Dad Bod Lawn. Really, really good. All right. Okay. Joe, you were telling me that there's a place somewhere else that they might really take grass more seriously than we do. Is it?
Yeah.
Do they do more soil tests? I don't know. They do more soil tests, but the grass is just what in England, Joe? It's what?
So this is Westminster Abbey in England. So I went to London in 2019, actually right before everything got shut down in November. Me and my wife went over, just us. It was kind of nice to get away from the kids. We went away for 4 days and we went to London. We did London. We went to Oxford. We did like the different things like that. And their grass in England is not like ours. It is just like.
What do you think it is? Is it climate?
I think it's climate. It's a very dreary, overcast, just there, and it's just.
But fungus. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know what they do to it, but like, look, this is Westminster Abbey. This is an actual picture I took.
You took that picture.
Yeah, this is my picture here. It's a pretty. If anybody's ever been to London, you got to check out Westminster Abbey, Tower of London. Do those kind of touristy things, but it's still worth it. But so obviously Westminster Abbey's here, and then maybe we can hop over to the next clip.
So Joe, I'm sticking on this 2 box with a small box. You said you couldn't hear me earlier. So we're just going to stick here where we're safe on home base.
Yeah.
Is this the one you're talking about where we got the grass layers? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah. So before we do there, let's go to the Ted Lasso.
Oh, so grass is not just for the homeowners looking to improve their lawns, but it's kind of hitting. Would you say it's hitting? I don't know, pop culture in some ways, Joe. let's play this little video here.
Feels different, Coach. I mean the same, but different.
Metaphor?
You know it, baby.
Joe, you know anybody that would do this if you stepped on their lawn?
Maybe my own lawn, maybe. But
Yo,
who are you?
no,
I'm Ted
pretty
Lasso.
sure
This is
my
Coach
lawn.
Beard here.
Oh,
But,
God, you're the new manager.
I mean, if
yes,
you
sir.
ever seen their tours of their stadiums over in England, there's a sign that says "keep off the grass."
I didn't look.
So this stadium
Oh, no,
here
that's
is
nice.
actually Crystal Palace. Is one of the Premier League teams over in England, and then obviously this TV show Ted Lasso, and actually their season 3 premieres actually tomorrow, so I'll probably be watching that tomorrow.
I'm seeing Doc is. Hey, what's up, Doc? Doc saying that tomorrow night. Ted Lasso.
So I got the AFC Richmond hat on. I've been watching the last 3 seasons, and it's a really good show. If anybody's looking for a good comedy show with Jason Sudeikis, you can't go wrong.
I'm hiding my face because I've never seen it, and I've been asked a million times.
Yeah, it's a great show. I knew about it like before it even got popular. I was really into it. But so this is Crystal Palace Stadium, and it, like I said, it's a Premier League team, and they take their grass over there in England seriously. And the next clip, before we get into the actual grass and what they do over there, let's show them the stadium of Tottenham, Tottenham Stadium. So this is actually in North London. This stadium is state of the art, and what it does is it actually moves. It's awesome. I mean,
That's
moves
sweet.
underground, and then what happens is there's an artificial turf field underneath of it, and they use this for the NFL when the teams come over there and play, and they put up the field goal post. You can see this was a Falcons game, so they painted the Falcons logo, and
The inferior bird, Joe. The inferior bird.
I mean, I just could watch this over and over. I mean, it's just awesome. And what's so cool about this pitch now, if after we get done tonight, go to YouTube, type in Tottenham HotSpur Stadium. They actually mow the lawn when it's underneath of the stadium. They have robot mowers that mow the lawn. And then they have these lights that are underneath the stadium as well that keep it still growing as it's like locked in underneath. It's awesome. I mean, they call it, obviously they don't call their field. They don't call it a field. They call it the pitch. It's not, and soccer is not soccer, it's football. And that's what I got on. I got Tottenham Hotspur jersey on. I got the second most, like you can't see, I don't want to turn around, but I have the
Joe,
second
are you
most,
saying,
or I should say the first most famous Harry now in England, Harry Kane.
Are you sandbagging on me on some of this stuff? Are you trying to you're flexing some major knowledge here on England and soccer and fields? You're not speaking a language I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I had a really good experience when I was over there. So I just I don't know, I did one of those ancestry things, and I do have ancestry that dates back to Newcastle, England area. So I'm kind of into the whole English thing.
Are you into English beer? You like those really dark ones that you gotta chew?
So believe it or not, when we stayed there, we stayed in actually the Westminster area, and our little flat, they call it, they're called flats over there, was
Look
actually
at you,
above
Mr. Fancy.
Yeah,
the fancy pants.
Our flat was actually above a pub, and our best meal was actually at this pub. We had fish and chips, and we had a beer, and it was so good.
That's awesome.
It was probably because we were really tired, but it was really good.
That's the best meal though when you're traveling.
Yeah, it was really good.
I mean, man, my brother got married in Santa Fe, New Mexico last spring, and it of all the delicious meals we had, it would be hard to have beaten the cheeseburger and fries at this old school diner that we got after traveling all morning, and it was late in the afternoon for lunch, and it was just, I was just starving. But hey, I saw a comment a while ago. Somebody said something about not getting on the grass. So here's a debate I got for you, Joe, before we move on to the layers of the grass.
Yeah.
Because you look, I've fallen down this, it's almost kind of a sick and twisted thing of being worried about someone stepping on your grass. And I get it because we put so much work into it. We have spent so many hours and sweat so much and labored so hard that when we get it the way we want it to look, we don't want somebody else messing it up. So I've always kind of posed this little question. Sometimes people will ask me, hey, what do you think about putting keep off the grass signs on your lawn? And if you ask me, we live in a culture where telling someone not to do something is a surefire way to get them to do something. So,
Yeah.
but I did see a funny YouTube short the other day. A guy on his ring cam noticed something really weird in his going on in his lawn, and he saw his delivery guy from FedEx walking only in the grass, jumped over the sidewalk into the flower bed and then onto his front porch. And he forgot that he had played a joke out in his front lawn that said, keep on grass. So the guy was like staying off the concrete and only staying on the grass. So what are y'all's thoughts in the chat about the whole, getting on people getting on your lawn? Like, I used to be worried about it. I had to get over that because my kids are going to get on it. So it is what it is.
Are you? So you're not a Clint Eastwood? Get off my.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I will admit that was me years ago, but not anymore.
Yeah, I could care less. I mean, I'm out there all the time with my kids on my grass, and we're in the wintertime, we're still on the grass, even if there's a frost on the ground. I don't care. That's what the grass is there for. It's there to use and play on. And my son, he loves soccer. Believe it or not, I never was a big soccer fan until I watched some more and more of the Premier League stuff, and I've really gotten into it now. And my team, obviously, I like Tottenham, I like Newcastle too, because my family's originally from there too. But I mean, we're out there all the time playing on the grass.
Well, I see
soccer, baseball. I mean, whatever. Frisbee, whatever. I mean, that's what it's there for.
Hey, I will agree with this. Hey, Turf Mechanic in the house, I know he's a huge proponent to using the lawn, not just looking at it. And John does make a good point. Kids, okay, but that is one thing, that if somebody's walking their dog and lets them take a massive deuce right in my front yard and doesn't bother to pick it up, that's a bit of a different story, because I'm not going to do that. And I expect as a neighbor that if I'm not going to do it, you're not going to, or I shouldn't say I shouldn't expect people that they're not going to do it. I just feel like they shouldn't let their dogs do that. Joe, to jump back over, because sometimes we think of our grass and we worry about how somebody might walk on it or a dog might take a crap, but there are a lot of layers to grass, right, Joe?
Yeah, so again, going back to Tottenham HotSpur Stadium, this stadium is just crazy. I mean, so what a lot of people don't know about the Premier League, these teams, they have their grow lights that come out after a game, and they'll they help artificially make the grass grow again, to stimulate sunlight, because it's just so overcast over there in England. So what they do is they do kind of a layer. It's they'll use actual artificial turf, they'll fill it in with sand, and then they'll actually put grass seed on top of that, and the grass seed will grow with the artificial turf, and it just creates this hardier, I guess I would say more of a hardier grass, where it can actually take the impact of these players running on there constantly. And I actually, when I was at the Tuckahoe Turf Farms 2 years ago, when I did or a year and a half ago when I did the tour, they actually had something very similar at their facility, where they were testing this for different teams in the MLS, and it's like almost like it's like a netting almost, but it has artificial turf, poking up, and then they have the grass seed. They'll seed in between it. So that's one layer that I've seen them do that at this Tottenham Hotspur. And then I've also seen another thing where they have these big machines that come on the field, and it almost looks like a sewing machine. It's like a big sewing machine where it pokes holes, and it pokes like these needles down into the ground. and it almost like threads like an artificial turf, like like a whatever you would call it, like the actual grass blade go up, and then again they'll seed into that, and all the grass and the real grass will grow in with the artificial turf, and it just creates this awesome playing surface. And I just think it's really interesting. That's how they do it. I mean, it's just crazy that and it works well. I mean, you see, if I watch the Premier League almost every weekend, I'll catch some of a game, and it's just these fields are just they're just amazing to look at. I mean, they're so pristine.
Joe, have you ever? I know you've got a pool in your backyard. It's becoming a, I don't know if you'd call it a trend or more. It's becoming more commonplace, I guess you would say, that folks with more kind of outdoor living areas with pools and outdoor kitchens and things of that nature are starting to put these artificial turf lawns in. Is that something you've ever thought about for your backyards?
So believe it or not, well, we just got our concrete redone around our pool, and before that, we had like mulch between our house and the where the cement started around the pool, and we hated it. I didn't want to put stone in. I didn't want to put grow grass there because it'd be a pain in the ass to cut. So I went to Home Depot and I got actual artificial turf rugs, and I laid them down along there so the kids didn't have to walk on the mulch. And it just, but like it worked well the first year, but then the second year, the bottoms of their feet would have these like little grass, like almost like the artificial turf was coming out, and it was getting on the bottom of their feet, and then if they were tracking it into the house. Thank God now we redid our concrete. Everything's nice and level. We don't have this mulch anymore, but it worked well in the beginning. I mean, obviously we kind of got like a cheaper one, so there might have been a better one, that we could have went with.
It's
But
worth giving a cheap one a shot, though,
yeah,
just to see
yeah,
if
it
it's
was
something
worth a
you're gonna
shot. Yeah,
be
and
interested
it worked
in.
well. It worked well that first year, so I couldn't fault it.
Well, speaking of what you're doing or what you've tested in your backyard, I've been hitting to it here on my channel, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Joe, that weather permitting, next week will be the week that we actually finally kick things off. My front yard has been kind of rough painted with kind of an outline, but we're waiting on one call to come mark out the front yard and mark utilities, water lines, all that kind of stuff. That way, hopefully, next week we can begin this big project that I've been kind of hinting at. If you know anything about this hill, the ski slope at the front of my new house, it's not usable. It's not fun to mow. It's just not a practical space for our family, Joe. So for about the last, it's been about a 10-year process, or 10-month, not 10-year process. We've not even been in here that long, but a 10-month process to figure out what we want to do, how we want this to go, and who's going to do it. And I think we finally got all those ducks in a row. And next week is supposed to be the time we start. Still fingers crossed, it's all weather permitting this time of year. It could rain and just pushes everything back. But that whole front yard is going to be completely transformed. We're going to put in a couple walls in the front yard, lots of planter space. They're going to provide just a space full of fresh topsoil, and I'm going to come in and do all the landscaping and mulching and all that stuff. But when it's all said and done, this front yard is going to have very little grass at all. And I've been talking about that for a while, that I'm really more interested in having smaller sections of manicured turf and really upping my landscaping game with very low maintenance, very hardy, almost indestructible perennials that I don't have to do a lot of deadheading or a lot of trimming on, that you can almost take your string trimmer to them to trim them back, the ones I've got picked out. But we're going to put 2 walls up. The walls are they're going to look like rock, because we looked at doing natural stone, and natural stone, just from a labor standpoint, having to fit those together and piece them together like a massive puzzle, it was just going to be too expensive and too labor intensive for the people that are going to do it, and for our pocket. So we're doing some stone looking walls. It's a wall system, but from an engineering standpoint and a safety standpoint, being close to a sidewalk and everything else, we think this is going to be the best route, because it'll look like a couple stone walls along the sidewalk, tiered up with a couple tiers. And then along the house, we're going to have some flower beds with some chopped stone, shorter walls to give us kind of a raised bed look up there. So that should kick off next week if you're interested in following along with that. And I'm going to be keeping up with it here.
Yeah, I'm just glad someone's able to get a wall finally built. I mean, it's just.
Oh, Joe, I see where you're going. Yeah, I'm putting 2 up. Two. But when we first moved in the house, I've said this several times, I knew what I was going to be up against before we even started building. Because if you're smart at all, you can look at the houses upstream and you can kind of tell what's coming your way. And I lost the battle. My wife, we wanted the house. It was what we wanted. And I knew I would have to deal with this at some point. And we're just gonna bite the bullet and go for it. We want a space our kids can use, our family can enjoy, and we plan on being here for a while. So if we're gonna be here for a while, we don't want to be miserable in the space we're living in. So keep up with that if you're interested in that kind of thing. Hey, Joe, we just hit the 1 hour mark, but that means we still have about 5 minutes left of the actual show. So we are going to wrap this thing up here in just a few minutes. If you're still hanging on with us, Joe, what should folks do for us if they're still hanging on in the show?
Smash the like button, guys. We got 4 likes. Let's go.
Is that it? 4?
4 likes.
4?
We've been on here for an hour. I think we covered a lot of good stuff, some funny stuff, some good, interesting stuff, some hot takes on my part. So hit that like button. It really does help out with the channel. And reminder, everyone, the bracket, go check that out. I think it's just something fun for everybody to do. Again, Arkansas is not going to make it far.
Yeah.
So don't pick them.
Yeah.
I'm a Duke fan, so I can't say anything. They're probably not going to make it far either.
Well, they've really been coming alive here late in the season.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear the big news out of Ole Miss?
No.
Oh my gosh! So they hired
Michael Orr is going.
They hired Chris Beard today. He was let go from Texas earlier this season after some sort of domestic violence deal going on with, I think, his fiance or girlfriend at the time. So Ole Miss, I guess, another team's trash is another team's treasure. So they picked up Chris Beard. He's a really good coach. He really started making a name for himself. The reason I know about him is he was at University of Arkansas Little Rock. And for a team like UALR that is not ever on the national radar, when he was there, he took the Trojans to the NCAA tournament and pulled off a couple big upsets, like 2 years in a row. So that's my only knowledge of him.
The one sports thing I wanted to cover was when I was in London, I went to go watch an Eagles game the last night that we were there. And I went into this bar. It was a sports bar. And I never seen so many different jerseys in my life of different teams. They take their sports over there. They take their NFL really seriously. And I had an Eagles beanie on, and there was a guy from London had the same exact Eagles beanie on as me. I go up to him. I said, "Are you from London?" He goes, "Yeah." He knew more about the team than probably half of our fan base.
Well, it sounds like you know more about soccer and grass over there than half of the.
Yeah, I was like, well, now I do, but I was just like amazed by how knowledgeable these people were of the NFL. I was just in total shock. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun to watch an NFL game over there.
Hey, well, did you get what I was saying a while ago when you were talking about the Atlanta Falcons? They were prepping the stadium for the Falcons. Yeah. I said the inferior bird, right? Did you get what
I didn't catch
did
that
you not well, you were zoned in, but I was talking about the
I think we still have more
bird.
Super Bowls than them, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The eagle is the superior bird over the falcon.
Superior bird.
The falcon is the inferior bird. Well, hey Joe, Western Mass, appreciate the feedback on the pitch talk. Joe carried the load there, but any feedback we can get, y'all, about the topics we're talking about here, about other things you want to talk about. Look, if we don't get your feedback, we're just going to rock and roll every week with things that we're interested in. We hope you're interested in them, and we hope we'll get some feedback from you to be able to cater some of these shows to topics that you're interested in. Joe, we got 40 seconds. I don't want to get slapped in the face. What are your parting words on this lovely Tuesday evening?
you ain't first, you're last.
Hey, don't
So
forget.
make sure you fill out those brackets.
Fill out those brackets. And what gum is that, Joe? Where can you pick up that green grass gum?
7-Eleven, Wawa, in my area.
Come and go, Casey's. Those are the
Kangaroo. I don't know.
we
where
have
else.
one called the Easy Mart. Everybody calls it the Sleazy Mart. TA, you are the man. That
Thank
is
you,
the way
Super
to
TA.
wrap it up. Hey, every week we try to do something a little bit different on this show. We had a timer and a pre-scalp title. This week, Joe, I'm going to fade to black. We'll see y'all next Tuesday, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Take care.